I don't know.
I think the dogs are distracting us. What's a khal? I don't know what a khal is. Khal is nothing. It's not even a word. You're definitely much younger than I am.
Yeah.
Yare. Butter tea, right now?
Butter tea, yeah.
Noon chia bhanchu त्यसलाई.
Yeah, I know butter tea. त्यो पनि थाहा भएन भने त म देश छोडे हुन्छ.
नागरिकता फिर्ता लिन्छ. Communication is one of the most important things that differentiates us from most other animals.
आज चाहिँ हामी एका बिहानै यो रेकर्ड गरिरहेछौँ. यो चाहिँ एकदमै अनयुजुअल हो, यस्तो कहिले पनि भएको थिएन. अनि हामी मध्ये केही साथीहरूलाई आज उठ्न धेरै गाह्रो पनि परेको छ. र आज यति चाँडो को आउनुभयो त हामीसँग कुराकानी गर्न भनेर सोच्दै पनि हुनुहुन्छ होला. आज हामीसँग चाहिँ फर्स्ट अफ अल भेरी जोयफुल फेस. अनि उहाँ चाहिँ इन्टरनेसनल स्पिकर हुनुहुन्छ, कम्युनिकेसन्स कोच हुनुहुन्छ, कर्पोरेट ट्रेनर हुनुहुन्छ, भोइस ओभर आर्टिस्ट हुनुहुन्छ एन्ड वाट नट. उहाँको धेरै परिचयहरू छन्. मानसी दिदी, हजुरलाई पोडकास्टमा स्वागत छ.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here so early in the morning. Thank you. धेरै धन्यवाद.
अनि मैले सुरुमै भने यदि यो अर्ली इन द मर्निङ चाहिँ कहिले पनि भएको थिएन. तपाईँले 8, 8:30 आउँछु भन्नुभयो होइन. अनि हरिशले मलाई यति बजे आउँछु भन्नुभएको छ दिदीले. सी इज अग्रिड टु कम भनेपछि 4 बजे बोलाउनु भने नि जाने बिहान भनेको थिएँ. तर यति चाँडो कसरी दिन सुरु हुन्छ?
मेरो दिन चाँडो सुरु हुन्छ बिकज आई रियलाइज्ड द्याट आई एम मोस्ट प्रोडक्टिभ अर्ली इन द मर्निङ. एक्चुली हिस्टोरिकली हेर्दाखेरि आई वाज अलवेज अ लेट राइजर के. बच्चा बेलामा आई युज टु वेक अप सुपर लेट. आई रिमेम्बर क्यालकाटामा गर्मीमा माई मदर युज टु स्विच अफ द फ्यान. अब उठ्छ, पङ्खा चलिरहेको छैन, गर्मीले गर्दा उठ्छ होला होइन. आई हेभ अलवेज बिन अ लेट राइजर. तर लकडाउनमा स्टार्ट भएको थियो मेरो यो बानी टु वेक अप अर्ली बिकज आई ह्याड टु डु अ लट अफ वर्क थ्रु आउट द डे. सो दिनभरि घरको काम यताउता तर आफ्नो पर्सनल काम कहिले गर्ने, वेन डु आई रिड, वेन डु आई राइट, वेन डु आई फोकस अन द थिङ्स आई वान्ट टु डु. सो त्यसको लागि आई स्टार्टेड वेकिङ अप अर्ली. I try to wake up early all the time. And now I think it's become a habit. किन मेरो productivity पनि त्यतिखेर high छ. And 7 o'clock after my son goes to school, I have nothing else to do. So 7 o'clock I start working, my office day, my day starts, and I try to finish by 3 o'clock on most days. So I can then spend quality time with my child. So I think this schedule works very well for me. So every time somebody tells me, okay, let's meet in the first hour morning ko, I'm like, tapaiko first hour ki mero first hour. Tapaiko first hour 10 or 11 hola. Mero first hour is like 5 maybe or 6 or 7 in the morning, right? So I'm very happy and thank you so much for accommodating me at this time. Mero lagi sabbanda sajilo, sabbanda comfortable यो टाइम हो बिहानको.
सो म एउटा कुरा सेयर गरिहाल्छु. म पनि एउटा समय थियो जब समथिङ अराउन्ड 3:30 आई जस्ट वेक अप. त्यो बेला सुरुमा चाहिँ मलाई अलार्म राख्न पर्यो, अलिकति गाह्रो भयो होइन. सो एउटा सर्टेन टाइम पछाडि चाहिँ त्यो अलार्म बेल पनि चाहिएन, स्वतःस्फूर्त रूपमा म उठ्न सक्ने क्या. अनि त्यति बेलाको हजुरले जुन प्रोडक्टिभिटी भन्नुभयो, म चाहिँ केही मेडिटेसन योग ध्यान गर्थेँ. अनि आई मिन या इट वाज समथिङ एल्स. त्यो बिहानको एनर्जी नै डिफ्रेन्ट हुने.
Sure. And plus because there's no distraction, nobody is calling you and asking you what are you doing, what's happening, do you want to go here, do you want to go there. Distraction pani chaina, I think that makes a huge difference. So in 1 hour you manage to sort of get 3-4 hours of work done and you're focusing on yourself, going within. It's dark outside, there's no other things happening. I think it makes a huge difference. I think mero lagi personally it makes a huge difference and I'm really trying to make it as early as possible now.
Kati baje uthनुहुन्छ?
Generally right, like today I woke up at 5:30 because I've not been very well for a lot of time. I've had like lots of problems. Sano. But I try to get up by 4:30. 4:30? 4:30.
Wow. 4:30 मा उठ्नको लागि कति बजे सुत्नुपर्छ?
Very good question. मेरो sleep को अलि problem छ. I can sleep at 9:30 also and wake up by 4:30. I don't suggest it to anybody at all. I would tell people, wake up, if you want to wake up at 4, try to sleep by 8. That's a good cycle.
So
8 hours.
8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. त्यो चाहिँ एउटा जनरल प्रेस्क्रिप्सन जस्तो हैन त.
हो. मलाई कम निन्द्राले पनि पुग्छ जस्तो लाग्छ. So I can manage in 6.5 hours. I can also manage in 2 hours. I've done that. It's very toxic and I've done that for quite a few years of my life. That I don't suggest it to anybody. 6 to 8 hours is good. 7 to 8 hours is good.
त्यो स्लिप कोटा पुरा गर्नलाई टाइममा सुत्ने र टाइममा उठ्ने त त्यो एउटा स्केड्युल भयो होइन. त्यसको अतिरिक्त चाहिँ के कुरा लाग्छ समयमा उठ्नको लागि, खानपानको कुरा हुनसक्छ, अरू दिनचर्या कसरी बिताउने भन्ने कुराहरू के कुराले इम्पोर्टेन्ट रोल प्ले गर्छ?
खानपान भन्दा आई थिङ्क फर मी पर्सनली it is the excitement. It is that, tomorrow morning, I wake up and I get to work on that speech. Tomorrow morning, I wake up and I get to write that. Tomorrow morning, I wake up and I get to read that book. I think for me, that enthusiasm, boli biana chito uthera, chhade uthera, before everybody else wakes up, this is what I get to do. Your enthusiasm, I think, keeps me going. It is never a pressure for me to wake up early if I have something amazing to look forward to. Let me give you an example. Suppose तपाईले आफ्नो ड्रीम भेकेसन बुक गर्नु भएको छ, तपाईँ प्यारिस जान खोजिराख्नु भएको छ, अनि तपाईँको बिहान 4 बजेको फ्लाइट छ, तपाईँलाई थाहा छ 2 बजे एयरपोर्ट पुग्नुपर्छ होइन, 1 बजे ठ्याक्क आँखा खुलिहाल्छ नि राति पनि होइन. That excitement is there. That's what keeps you going. It's not really about what you've eaten or anything else. It is about the fact that you're so looking forward to it and you don't want to miss out on that. Thakka tyo tarikale, I'm just so excited about all the things I'll get to do in the morning that I sort of wake up. Initially, it wasn't so easy. Initially, I had to put an alarm just like you, होइन. Alarm लगाएर ओहो alarm भयो, अन्ध्यारो छ, अनि एकदम चिसो पनि छ, अनि without making a sound, you have to get out of your room because people should not wake up. My son should not wake up. तर I think now it's more of a habit. It's more of what I like to do. And I'm always like, okay, यो book आज यहीँ सकाउनु पर्छ, भोलि बिहान उठेर पढ्न पाउँछु म. त्यो कारणले you sort of wake up early. And I think that's what is important and that's what keeps you going.
So मैले चाहिँ के पनि एड गर्न खोज्दै थिएँ भने जस्तो मनबाट त उठ्ने चाहना हुन्छ नि त होइन. आई गट टु वेक अप, म भोलिदेखि चाहिँ उठ्छु भनेर त्यस्तो भोलि कति गइसक्यो नि. तर एउटा फिजिकल लेथार्जी भनौँ होइन, त्यो मेन्टल्ली पुस गरिरहेछ तर शरीरले चाहिँ मानिरहेको छैन क्या, त्यस्तो स्थिति पनि हुन्छ. अनि त्यो चाहिँ मैले आफै त्यो एउटा प्याटर्न भनौँ न, आफै अब्जर्भ गरेको कुरा चाहिँ पहिला मैले हेभी खाना खाएर सुतेको छ भने चाहिँ आई कुडन्ट वेक अप द्याट इजिली. अनि अलिकति डिनरमा चाहिँ अलिकति लाइट खाएर अलि सजिलो मतलब के भन्ने एकदम हल्का खाना भनौँ न, हल्का खाना खाएर सुत्या छ भने चाहिँ उठ्न अलिक गाह्रो नभएको जस्तो मेरो आफ्नो अब्जर्भेसन चाहिँ त्यस्तो पनि थियो.
आई टोटली एग्री विथ यू होइन. तर मैले कहिले यो रियलाइज किन गरेको छैन, बिकज आई डोन्ट इट डिनर. So for me, in any case, if I'm not eating after 6, it doesn't matter. After 6, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I'm going to sleep by 8:30, 9, even 9:30, but if I haven't eaten anything after 5 or 6, I don't feel anything. So this is something I've not realized, but I guess I'm sure it's true.
No, फेरि हजुरको त कस्तो रहेछ भने एकदम यो सोलर साइकलसँग चाहिँ तपाईँको दिनचर्यालाई अलाइन गर्नु भएको रहेछ. किनभने अब 3:30 to 4 भनेपछि सनराइजभन्दा 1.5 hour 2 hours अर्लियर उठ्नुभयो होइन. अनि त्यस पछाडि सनराइज भयो, एकदम बिहानको सबभन्दा सुरुको सनराइज पनि तपाईँले देख्नुभयो. अनि थ्रु आउट द डे हुँदै गएपछि 6 त्यो खाना पनि कुन टाइम अफ द डेमा कुन खाना खाने भन्ने एक खालको प्रेस्क्रिप्सन छ नि त होइन. अब दही जस्तो चिजहरू चाहिँ 12 बजेभन्दा उता खासै नखानु भनिरहेको हुन्छ, बिकज त्यो सनलाइटले चाहिँ सोलरले चाहिँ हेल्प गर्छ त्यसलाई डाइजेस्ट गर्नको लागि, पछि रातमा हुँदैन भनेर भन्छ होइन. अनि अल्सो लाइक त्यो नेचुरल लाइट जुन छ होइन, अब हामीले फोनबाट रेडिएट हुने एमिट हुने लाइटहरू भनेको त्यो ब्लू लाइटको कुरा गर्छ नि, त्यसले आँखालाई असर गर्ने. अब सबै अँध्यारो भएको ठाउँमा अनि त्यो मात्र फोकस भएपछि त त्यसले पनि हामीलाई कुनै न कुनै हिसाबमा असर गरिरहेको हुन्छ नि त होइन. सो या दिस वाज अ कन्सियस चोइस.
Yes, absolutely.
How do you make choices?
How do I make choices? Oh my God, that's a great question. In school, I was very influenced by my school principal, Mrs. Peacock. That was her name. Okay. I was very influenced by her, and every morning, assembly ma, before we would start our day, she would say something and we would think about it. And I remember she would often say this, you are a sum total of the choices you make.
Wow.
Now, this is not a very uncommon thing. People say it all the time, maybe in different ways and different words. But she used to say it very often. And I've heard her say this so much that I realized every time in my life, when I've come to like a crossroad and now I have choices, I've always been like, okay, which choice is easy and comfortable? Which choice is not easy and not comfortable, but it's going to take me to where I want to be. So I always think about after 5 years, after 2 years, which choice is going to make me proud, and I take that choice. So I think that the entire quest of, I have to wake up early because I want to change my life. I want to work on myself. I want to focus a bit more on my work. I want to focus a bit more on myself, me, who I am as a person. I think with that, this choice became very easy. It became a choice I wanted to make because I realized that this was one of the easiest ways to really transform myself. So it wasn't difficult at all.
Okay. त्यो तपाईँले अलि आजभन्दा पनि धेरै पछाडिकोसम्म सोचेर अलिक दूरदर्शी भएर सोच्नुभयो होइन त?
Yes.
सो अलिकति पछाडि फर्क्यौँ न बाल्यकालतिर.
हजुर.
यो कस्तो हुन्छ भने हामी अहिले जुन अवस्थामा छौँ, जे छौँ, त्यो हुनलाई हामी बाल्यकालमा कस्तो स्थितिमा थियौँ होइन, कस्तो अपब्रिङिङ भयो, के स्कुलिङ पायौँ भन्ने कुराले धेरै ठुलो इम्पोर्टेन्स पनि राख्छ.
एब्सोल्युटली.
सो त्यो हाम्रो एक खालको माइन्ड चाहिँ कसरी सेभ गर्ने भन्ने चाहिँ सर्टेन एजसम्म चाहिँ गर्न सकिने, त्यस पछाडि अलिक कन्क्रिटाइज हुँदै जाने रहेछ क्या होइन. एउटा एक खालको कग्निटिभ रिजिडिटी पनि, अब जस्तो एकदमै ठुलो मान्छेहरूलाई, एडल्टहरूलाई कुनै पनि बिलिफ सिस्टममा चेन्ज गर्नलाई कति गाह्रो हुन्छ नि होइन. एउटा एकदमै डगम्याटिक बिलिफ छ भने त्यसलाई चाहिँ भत्काउन, डिसमेन्टल गर्नलाई चाहिँ त्यसले झन् ठुलो डिस्ट्रक्सन ल्याउँछ जस्तो हुन्छ नि, राइट. सो न्यू डिमान्डलाई चाहिँ त्यो गर्न नसक्ने, त्योसँग चाहिँ के भन्छ, एक्सेप्ट गर्न नसक्ने भनौँ न. सो हाउ इज योर चाइल्डहुड, एक्चुअली सम्झिनु न.
I had the best childhood that anyone can ever imagine. I grew up in Calcutta in a big family, joint family थियो सुरुमा हाम्रो. So there was like many cousins and we all lived in one big house together. It was beautiful. And childhood ma, now that I look back, त्यतिखेर त यति apparent थिएन मेरो लागि होला. But now that I look back, I realize I had two very big privileges that not everybody has. Number one, my mother. She fought hard to give me the education I got. She fought hard to help me learn. She fought hard to make me the person I am today. So my mother was my privilege, it was the unfair advantage that I have in my life, chasto lagsa. So that would be number one. And number two, the other huge privilege that I had was that I was lucky to go to the school I went to. My mother, again, fought hard, put in a lot of effort to make sure I went to one of the best schools in Calcutta, La Martiniere for girls. It's a girls' school. Beautiful school. School shaped me in many different ways, gave me a lot of exposure, put me under a lot of stress sometimes. And that stress teaches you. That stress teaches you how to compartmentalize. So I think school le plus school ma to ma धेरै कुरा सिकिरा थे. अनि मामुले मलाई internally पनि मलाई धेरै strong पनि बनाउनु भयो जस्तो लाग्छ. And I think that combination really gave me perhaps a childhood that has shaped me in innumerable ways and that I always dig back into. I always look back. Acha, what if I was in school? Acha, what if mom, what would she tell me right now? How should I do things, So on a day when I still talk to my mother a lot, आज बिहान पनि 2 minute कुरा भइसक्यो मेरो हैन, even before I came here. तर I think these two things really, really shaped me personally, completely made me who I am. And I'm super grateful, super duper grateful. I think without my mom's presence in my life and without मेरो school को त्यो एउटा stress दिने बानी, एउटा बच्चाहरूलाई एकदमै not, आजकल के हुन्छ, in school they give too much to the children, too much love, too much attention, which is a good thing. But I got all that at home, and in school I got too much pressure, too much stress. पढाइ पनि गर्नु पर्यो, स्पोर्ट्समा पनि जानु पर्यो, कल्चरल एक्टिभिटिजमा पनि पार्टिसिपेट गर्नु पर्यो, यो पनि गर्नु पर्यो. यति धेरै अप्सन्स, यति धेरै कम्पिटिसन, त्यो हेरेर एक तरिकाले we were getting a lot of stress. Mom at home was sort of making things easy for us. So दुईटाको कम्बिनेसनले ब्यालेन्स गरेर एक तरिकाले allowed you to deal with that stress and gave you the strength to deal with that stress as well. So I think that sort of push and pull made things very, very good for me growing up, because that sort of gives you a more well-rounded personality जस्तो पनि लाग्छ.
So अहिले जब तपाईँ जहाँ हुनुहुन्छ, जुन प्रोफेसनमा हुनुहुन्छ, was it ever part of the plan?
No. Oh my God. When you're in school, you have these wild dreams जस्तो लाग्छ, हैन? I started with I wanted to be a teacher as a child. So मेरो त्यो थियो, I want to be a teacher, हैन? Because that's the only profession.
I think you'd make a good teacher.
I am a trainer, so in a way I'm a teacher, right? But I wanted to be a teacher because that's the only profession you're exposed to when you're a kid. Tara thulo hudakheri, I remember I also wanted to be an astronaut. For some reason, I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to go to Mars and Jupiter. These were
Wow.
my 2 planets, I know. That I
Two
wanted
planets.
to go to. 2 planets, only 2 planets. I was not very ambitious. I was like, okay, Mars sama jansu, त्यसपछि Jupiter jansu, batomai huncha. You know what I mean? So in your head, the solar system is a diagram you've seen. You don't really think of it and understand the what goes into that, right? Ahle pani we haven't even gone close to Mars. You know what I mean? So for me at that point, I was like, ठीक छ, Jupiter सम्म पुग्ने हो, Mars मा रोकेर एकचोटि transit गरेर we'll go. It used to be like that when you're a kid, right? And then of course I gave up all of these big plans and I said, okay, I want to be a photographer, which I did eventually do. 6 years professionally, I did become a photographer. But I forgot about that dream also. And then somewhere in the middle, I wanted to be an economist because I was very good in economics in
Wow.
school.
You're a
त्यो
gold medalist.
Yes. तर त्यो पनि भएन हैन. And then I came to Kathmandu and I joined Toastmasters and I realized I loved communicating on stage. That gave me this feeling of empowerment more than anything else ever did. And to have conversations with people, to speak to people, that just makes me really happy. You can
Yeah.
see how happy I am right now, right? So these things I realized just made me so intellectually stimulated, made me feel so passionate. I never felt it was work, never felt it was pain. And I started wondering if I would actually ever be able to get paid to speak, because this is what I love to do. So in my head, this is before I had access to proper internet, you know, before Facebook, before all of that. I was like, how wonderful would it be if people actually paid me to speak? And I obviously believed that was not possible. I obviously thought, testo kaha huncha? Who gets paid to speak? You know, it's just the most fundamental basic thing that you do. Who's going to pay anybody to speak?
Right.
And then I don't know, I think I manifested or attracted this in my life and now I'm getting paid to speak and I don't think I would have anything change about that.
कम्युनिकेसन अथवा संवाद तपाईँको लागि के हो? जस्तो अरू जीव जन्तु, अरू जनावर, अरू प्राणी भन्दा हामी कुन अर्थमा फरक छौँ? धेरै अर्थमा फरक होला, तर मानवको एउटा क्वालिटी भनौँ, गुण भनौँ, एउटा अर्को क्यारेक्टरिस्टिक्स भनेको चाहिँ वी क्यान कम्युनिकेट, होइन? एउटा मैले एउटा कुनै बायोलोजिस्टको टेड टक हेर्दै थिएँ, होइन? अनि उहाँले के एक्सप्लेन गर्नुभएको छ भने, जस्तो कुनै एउटा मरुभूमि छ, होइन? मरुभूमि छ, त्यहाँबाट पानी पनि एक्सेस छैन, केही पनि एक्सेस छैन, इट इज जस्ट अ मरुभूमि, है? त्यहाँ एउटा चिम्पान्जीलाई राखिदिने हो अनि एउटा मान्छेलाई राखिदिने हो भने probably the chimpanzee will outsmart the person, the human, होइन? तर अब चिम्पान्जीहरू 5 जना हुँदै 5 वटा भयो, 10 वटा भयो, 20 वटा जति बढी भयो त्यति उनीहरू चाहिँ अब त्यहाँ के होस् हुन्छ, उनीहरूले राइट डिसिजन लिन सक्दैन. तर त्यो एकजना मान्छेको ठाउँमा अब त्यो मान्छेहरू चाहिँ 5 जना 10 जना होइन, धेरै धेरै एउटा ग्रुप जस्तो हुन थाल्यो भने चाहिँ नाउ दे क्यान फाइन्ड अ सोल्युसन भनेको छ क्या. सो द रिजन इज वी हेभ अ ल्याङ्ग्वेज एन्ड वी क्यान
Communicate, and if we use it productively, we can collaborate.
Exactly.
Right? And that's exactly what this is. This was there in Sapiens. I don't know where you read it, but this I read in Sapiens. You will know
I think I read it in
Sapiens, right?
Oh.
Exactly. So what happens is, because communication, because we as humans communicate, I think also on various levels. You know, one is basic communication. One is also, we also know how to manipulate. Let's understand that whether we like it or not, manipulation also is important when you need to communicate. What to say, what not to say, what to hide. Sometimes these things are important as well. And as human beings, because our brains are just more developed, we also have different layers and different nuances of our communication. And because we are able to communicate in a more nuanced way, in a more subtle way, in a more not very obvious and apparent way every time, because we're able to have more empathy, understand the other person as well, and communicate in a way that they understand better, we are able to form similar groups, we are able to collaborate, we are able to communicate, we are able to share, and we are able to work towards the greater good of all. So definitely I think communication is one of the most important things that differentiates us from most other animals. Communication for me, tara sochta kheri, this is from a developmental or a sociological point of view. Civilization ko bare ma. For me, communication is very simple. It's my go-to. It is the one thing that keeps me sane, that keeps me alive, and that also gives me a reason to go on. Because what am I if I'm not my words? Jasto pani lagcha.
You wrote this somewhere. words are my ikigai, something.
Absolutely.
So-
Because if I'm not my words,
Uh-huh.
if I'm not my feelings and emotions that I can put into words, what am I jasto लाग्छ के?
So you communicate with a purpose.
I communicate all the time. Sometimes it's purposeful. Sometimes it's possibly not that much. And I'm just having a very chada communication. You know what I mean? Just ramailo garira pani hola. Tara, yes. When I communicate, and if I want to communicate with a purpose, I'm extremely conscious and clear about exactly what I want to say, how I want it to be perceived. And I'm extremely conscious about the fact that I allow the other person enough space, enough thought to take it in, to distill it, to internalize it in the way they need to. And then I always ask them, you know, is this okay? Does this work for you? So if I'm communicating with a purpose, my entire thought process is completely different. If I'm just communicating just because I want to have fun, or I'm talking to my son and we are laughing about something, there's absolutely no purpose to it. It's just that
Fun.
also happens.
Fun is the purpose.
Absolutely. Fun is the purpose.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Smiles. Yes.
सो यो कम्युनिकेसनको एउटा इन्टेग्रल पार्ट भनेको लिसनिङ हो होइन. अनि यो चाहिँ मोस्ट अफ द कम्युनिकेसन फेलियर अथवा मिसकम्युनिकेसन हुँदाखेरि कम्युनिकेसनको बिचमा नोइज आउने सिचुएसनहरू चाहिँ बढी त्यो सेन्डर र रिसिभरले इन्कोडिङ र डिकोडिङको प्रोसेसमा अलिकति बिचमा केही नमिलेर हुनसक्छ नि. त्यसको एउटा चाहिँ सबैभन्दा ठुलो रोल चाहिँ लिसनिङले पनि खेल्छ. So, can you differentiate between hearing and listening?
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, hearing is just right now. Just right now, there was some kind of a plane or something that went and I heard that in my ear. Was I listening for it? Kasto plane sa kati lamo bhairach cha? Is the sound good? Is it not good? Absolutely not. I was unconscious to that, right? So when we are hearing, it is just things that it's more like a scientific thing. It's stuff that's coming into our ears and our brain is possibly perceiving that sound. Right? But we're not actually consciously thinking about what that sound was, what it means to us, and we're not trying to decode it as such.
Yeah.
But when you're listening, you're actually genuinely putting in effort to understand it, to decode it, to internalize it, and then to make your own reaction or your own response to it. Whether that's negative, positive, doesn't matter. But you're putting in that brain prowess into that process.
Yeah.
That for me is listening. When you're putting in effort, hearing is your body, because you've got ears and you've got a brain, it's going to take it in. So you're hearing stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. अनि यसमा यो आई थिङ्क यो कसले भनेको चाहिँ मलाई थाहा छैन होइन. खासमा आजकल त्यो इन्टरनेटभरि कोटहरू जसको नाममा नि आइदिन्छ. यो आई रियली डोन्ट नो कसले भनेको. तर के भनेको छ भने मोस्ट अफ धेरै कम्युनिकेसन फेलियरहरू चाहिँ किन हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि when people don't communicate, when people don't listen to understand, but they listen to reply.
Yeah.
होइन?
True.
अनि अर्को व्यक्तिको कुरा नबुझिकन रिप्लाई गर्दाखेरि कस्तो प्रतिक्रिया जनाउला त मान्छेले. सो आई मिन कम्युनिकेसन फेलियर त निश्चित नै देखियो नि त त्यहाँ होइन. मलाई एउटा हजुरको एउटा कुरा एकदमै फ्यासिनेट गर्छ क्या. Calcutta? Yeah.
Okay.
Because no, म क्यालकटा भन्ने चाहिँ मेरो लागि इडेन गार्डन्स हो.
क्यालकटा
सौरभ गाङ्गुली हो होइन, रवीन्द्रनाथ टेगोर हो.
Okay, yes.
अनि what else? Food हो.
Oh my God, yes.
And culture. I mean मैले त देखेको टेलिभिजनमा, इन्टरनेटमा यताउता हो, कहिले पनि पुगेको छैन. तर क्यालकटासँगको सम्बन्ध चाहिँ त्यो इडेन गार्डन्सले नै जोड्या हो पहिलो चाहिँ. तपाईँको क्यालकुटासँगको सम्बन्ध सुनौँ न.
Eden Gardens बाटै स्टार्ट गरौँ.
Oh, please.
In that case, होइन? I think Eden Gardens for me is all about my grandfather. मेरो हजुरबुवा Eden Gardens मा एउटा लाइफ टाइम मेम्बरशिप हुन्छ क्या. अनि Eden Gardens मा इफ यु हेभ अ लाइफ टाइम मेम्बरशिप, जुन पनि म्याच भयो तपाईँको घरमा 2टा टिकट आउँछ होइन. अनि मेरो हजुरबुवा was the biggest cricket fan that I have ever seen in my life होइन. हाम्रो घरमा हामी हिन्दू हो, मुस्लिम हो, क्रिस्चियन हो फरक छैन, हामी क्रिकेट फ्यान हो. त्यस्तो थियो कि that was our religion. Yeah, absolutely होइन. So क्रिकेट म्याच हुँदाखेरि हाम्रो रुलै थियो हजुरबुवा जानुहुन्छ Ani all the 5 grandchildren that he had, एउटालाई सँगै लानुहुन्छ हैन?
He would pick.
He would pick.
Okay.
And if it's a test match, everybody gets to go one day, right? म टेस्ट कति हेरेको मैले टेस्ट म्याचेस पनि केही नबुझिरा केही भइरा पनि छैन. That's slow, right? You're just watching like
टुक्का
West Indies India त्यो पुरानो 1990s को कति म्याच मैले इडन गार्डन्समा गएर हेरेको. 90s को early 90s को पनि हैन? And they're just hitting and they're just going slow and you're watching it because fine, your grandfather got you and this is a treat. Possibly you were allowed to miss school for that match. So त्यो पनि ठुलो कुरा हुँदो रहेछ त्यतिखेर. But Calcutta is a city. Let's go to Eden Gardens again. Let's start from there. I think to me, Calcutta is a city of culture, yes, and a city of passion. You know, if you go to Eden Gardens, the atmosphere there is electric. You can't stop. You are on your seat and you are jumping up and down because you can't stop. It is that crazy. It is that level of magic. You know,
the energy?
The energy. There's like over 1 lakh people there, I believe.
Wow.
And people are chanting and screaming and shouting, and Saurav Ganguly, when I was growing up, Saurav Ganguly was playing, right? Dada comes and you're like, Dada! And you know, you may not even be a Saurav Ganguly fan, but you see him and you're like, Dada! And as if your life depends on it, you know. And if there's a match in Eden Gardens, your floodlights, and your gadi has to be parked very far. You have to walk for like more than a kilometer because there are some 16 or 20 entrances or something. Every car has a color-coded sticker. It was very well organized. It was extremely difficult to actually reach that place to watch it. And I think that passion in Calcutta is not limited only to cricket. In Calcutta, that passion, that joy is about politics as well, is about, let's say, the freedom movement when it was happening, is about culture, is about Rabindra Sangeet, is about food, is about football, is about everything. I think Bengali people and the people of Calcutta generally...
they call it City of Joy, right?
City of Joy, absolutely.
That explains it all.
A city of joy, yes, because I think Calcutta, Ajako Dinma, is a slower city than the rest of the Indian metropolitans. But it's also a city that helps you connect with the old soul in you. You know, Calcutta, I always say, the newer parts of any Indian city look the same. Same shops, same malls, everything. But when you go to old Calcutta, when you go to the older parts of the city, which are still preserved, like what they were maybe in Tagore's times or just after freedom.
What is it, like the gully
सानो गल्लीहरू हैन?
Patan जस्तै हो?
Patan jasto nabhanu. It's got a different feel.
Okay.
Patan is more about beautiful architecture, beautiful windows, aakhi jhalharu. Ours is more about craftsmanship on the outside. In Calcutta, it's not really that. It's maybe bigger lanes. But it's got that old world charm. None of the houses will be painted. They'll all be purano khalko. Everything's crumbling. Tara, when you walk through that little lane, you'll hear somebody's practicing Rabindra Sangeet. त्यो गीत सुनिरहेको छ हैन? तानपुरामा हार्मोनियममा धेरै हैन? You're walking through this old lane, you'll hear somebody's practicing dance. So कथक भइरहेछ नि, you hear the घुंगरूको आवाज, right? You'll hear that. When you're walking, maybe you'll have somebody who, like an old man, is maybe walking and he's talking about something, or he's sharing about, Rabindranath Tagore, something.
Wow.
So it's a different feel there. It's not so much about the architecture.
It's vibrant, eh?
Very vibrant. You know, you'll hear the old sounds. People are still going to discuss things about communism and Marxism on the streets. There's going to be adda. There's going to be people discussing aile pani. They'll be discussing things like, purano 1960s ma tyo geet ma kati ramro lyrics थियो. So that culture and the way people in Calcutta take culture, it's a huge part of our being. Okay? Whether it's food, whether it's music, whether it's literature, all of these things, whether it's art, painting. My mother is an artist. So I grew up in a family which was very culturally oriented. Whether we liked it or not, I was never a very good singer. Tara suruma, when I was in, I think, grade 1, एउटा singing teacher आएर सिकाउने किन? I'm a girl and all girls have to learn how to sing. It's as simple as that. So I had a singing teacher. My cousins had a singing teacher. That's how it was. My mom was an artist. So we grew up like that in a very culturally oriented city and a very cultural family.
के बनाउनुहुन्छ ममले?
Mom, she is an oil painting गर्नुहुन्छ, ठुलो oil paintings गर्नुहुन्छ, and she does a lot of different kinds of art. So oil paintings primarily, I would like to believe she does that a lot. But these days she's doing charcoal art. She's doing a lot of water painting and things like that as well. Sketching garnu huncha.
She puts her work out on social media pani?
Not enough. I fight with her every day. I think this is the one conversation which mom and me just don't agree on. So she does a lot of beautiful work which she's not putting anywhere, and I'm just disappointed because I told her
branding
and I'm like, the way to go forward is to put it on social media, because you can make all these wonderful paintings, but if nobody is watching, in a way it's within you only. But she's not like that. She's very different from me. She is sort of very closed. She doesn't put enough on social media, but I'm convincing her. Hopefully one day I'll be successful.
I think एउटा reason is she's not digital native ni ta हैन?
Maybe. But do you know one thing?
Yeah.
My mother books all my tickets. She does all my banking transactions. So I will not say that she's not digitally literate.
Timeline त्यो एउटा मैले चाहिँ कसरी भन्न खोजेको भन्दाखेरि एउटा सर्टेन 19 समथिङ सम्मकोलाई डिजिटल एली त्यहाँदेखि यतालाई डिजिटल नेटिभ भन्ने एउटा छ नि त. सो त्यो आधारमा चाहिँ हो
लिटरेट हुनुहुन्छ, डिजिटली लिटरेट हुनुहुन्छ, इन्ट्रेस्टेड हुनुहुन्न. यु अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड द डिफरेन्स? एकदम लिटरेट छ, सबै आउँछ, अनलाइन गरेर ठेकटुक सबै घरको किराना मगाइदिन्छ, सबै गर्छ मेरो मामुले. मेरो टिकट्स अनलाइन अहिले पनि मेरो टिकट्स मेरो मामु नै बुक गर्ने हो, बिकज शी इज सो गुड, सो फास्ट विथ अल अफ दिस. तर इन्ट्रेस्ट छैन टु गो अन सोसल मिडिया. Not at all. I'm pushing her every day.
Social media को रोल कस्तो देख्नुहुन्छ आजको दिनमा? For every realm of life, जुनसुकै प्रोफेसनमा भए पनि.
I think here's what I believe, okay? The internet for me is the greatest enabler of our times. The greatest enabler. It has made so many things possible, things that you and me could dream of. I don't know when you're born. You're definitely much younger than I am.
Yeah.
And yare. You make me feel like a dinosaur right now. Taro, yeah. See, so you're much younger than me. But growing up, there were some things I could not even imagine, right? Like, for example, my cousin had gone to study in America. And we would wait kaile आउँछ so we can see his face. Because त्यो concept थिएन video call गर्ने concept थिएन हैन.
Okay.
And these days it's all so easy. So the internet has enabled a lot of things that we never thought possible. But social media is not just an enabler, it's an equalizer. So how I differentiate between these two? The internet is sort of the medium, the tool that has made things possible. But social media has given everybody power, right? In the sense, I'm sitting in Nepal, in Kathmandu. If I want to speak to somebody in America, I want to share my words with somebody in America, or I want to listen to somebody in America, it's going to take me 10 seconds to do that. And social media and the internet have made that powerful, that made that possible. For example, internet gave us the tool. People who made social media networks really allowed us to democratize the world. Today, you sitting in Nepal in a lot of ways have the power to learn and the power to share just as much as somebody in America in a more developed country does.
True.
I think that is the biggest thing that social media has given us, number one. Number two, I think because we all have the option of sharing now, we can share whatever we want to share. Good stuff, bad stuff, ugly stuff, happy stuff, doesn't matter. Whatever is inside of you, social media is a great canvas to put that out there, to paint that out there, right? And that allows you to share your work with too many more people than ever before. पहिला मलाई लाग्छ, if you wanted to create your own personal brand, म personal branding को बारेमा धेरै कुरा गर्छु. I work with a lot of people on their personal brands. Earlier, if you wanted to make your own personal brand, there were only two options. Either you have to be rich enough to put posters all over the city with your face on it and talking about how amazing you are, or you would have to be invited by the traditional media on television to come and to share. But to get invited, you had to be famous already, right? They won't just invite anybody like you or me to go there. You have to be famous. You have to have somebody with some kind of credibility to be invited. So it was a hen and chicken story. Famous China, so you're not getting invited. Not getting invited, so not famous, right? That was happening. So either you have to be very rich or you have to be famous to be able to further create your personal brand. With social media, all that you need is a connection to the internet and a basic understanding of how you want to use social media. And no matter who you are, whether you're talking about birds or you're talking about communication or you're talking about cricket or you have a podcast, you can put yourself out there, your words out there, your thoughts out there, and allow yourself to be recognized, to be heard, to be understood, to be respected, and to be loved by absolutely unlimited numbers of people. And I think that is the real power of social media.
That's true. But provided which side of digital divide you stand on.
Of course.
डिजिटल डिभाइडको पनि ठुलो
Right.
ग्याप छ नि त.
Right.
सबैको पहुँचमा पुगेको छैन.
Right.
तर अरू धेरै इन्भेन्सनहरूलाई जति टाइम लाग्यो नि एउटा के भन्छ त्यसलाई एक ठाउँबाट अर्को ठाउँमा एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी पनि र द्याट्स अ वर्ड आई फर्गेट इट त्यो डिस्पर्स हुने there's a terminology नै हैन हामीले मिडिया पढ्दा
एक्सेस पनि
एक्सेप्ट पनि र त्यो उ पनि के भन्छ त्यसलाई व्हाट डु यु कल इट त्यो छिटो छिटो मुभ हुने क्या एक ठाउँबाट अर्को ठाउँमा मोबिलिटी पनि क्या पोर्टेबल क्या पोर्टेबिलिटी पनि त्यो सबैको हिसाबले अहिले यो जुन मोबाइल डिभाइसेसहरू जुन छ हामीसँग हैन ग्याजेट्सहरू यिनीहरू चाहिँ अगाडिको इन्भेन्सन जे जति भयो तिनीहरू भन्दा पनि अलि छिटो चाँडो मुभ भइरहेछ नि त मेबी पिपल क्यान अफोर्ड इट रिलेटिभली अरू कुराहरू भन्दा अफोर्ड गर्न सकिने भएर पनि होला. सो या डिजिटल डिभाइड पनि बिस्तारै त्यो पनि त्यो ग्याप
ब्रिज हुँदै जान्छ होला.
म अघि म अझै त्यो क्यालकाटादेखि यतापट्टिको सिफ्टमै थोरै अड्किरहेको छु होइन. सो त्यो कल्चरबाट त्यो म्युजिक आर्ट लिटरेचर कल्चर होइन त्यो ठाउँको अपब्रिङ्गिङबाट चाहिँ ठ्याक्कै यता सिफ्ट हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ यो सिफ्टको त्यो एउटा सिफ्टकै कुरा गरौँ न. हाउ वाज द सिफ्ट टु नेपाल टु काठमाडौँ?
नट इजी. Okay, so here's the thing. I was in Calcutta for around 18-19 years. I was in Pune for 2 years. And then I came to Kathmandu, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pune, I was studying.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing my graduation. Calcutta, my life was very easy, very relaxed, fun, beautiful, culture, a lot of wonderful things to see all around. It's not a very beautiful city in terms of natural beauty, but it's more about cultural beauty and it's about people and all of that. I went to Pune, which was very different from Calcutta.
Mm-hmm.
So I had already got that cultural shock. I suddenly realized, oh my God, no one plays Rabindra Sangeet here. But I didn't realize that only happens in Calcutta. You know what I mean? There's no music. I don't hear music when I'm walking on the streets. People are not talking about art. People don't have jholas and they're not sitting and talking about politics and doing art down the roads. It's not like that here. Suddenly, this city is a very commercial city. Pune is very commercial. It's a student city, but it's also very commercial. So because Calcutta, but I went to Pune, that was a huge shift for me. Okay. It was a huge transformation for me and to meet people from all parts of India. So for me, that cultural shock had happened in Pune, not so much in Kathmandu. Then when I come to Kathmandu, Kathmandu, I think, is a very beautiful mix. So on the one hand, you have that super duper old parts of the city which are entrenched in the culture. Mm-hmm. You have all of that. You have your Patan, you have your Bhaktapur, you have your Basantapur. You have these parts of the city which are just so beautiful, which are just, at least visually for me, beautiful, right? And then you also have your Darbar Marg and you have your Thamel and you have the cool commercial bits of the city. Mm-hmm. So for me, while Kathmandu was smaller size-wise, hola, in a way, it pandered to and it catered to both parts of my personality, which had been developed by then. Mm-hmm. So Malai Kathmandu ma pani, if you ask me what is my favorite part of this valley, I will say Bhaktapur. It is. I love.
Reason being?
It's so beautiful. Literally, I go to Bhaktapur, I've shot 4 or 5 videos there, right now. Every time I go, I'm like, oh my God, look at this window. Oh my God, look at that party. Oh my God, look at that. Bhaktapur is that. Patan also, the way they've done the lights at night, I think it's just so beautiful. Somebody was asking me, what kind of a house would you like to stay in? And I said, I have never done this, but I would love to live in an old Nevar house look out of an ankhi jhal at some temple all day long. I've never done that in my life. But only this city allows you to do that. So why not? And for me, Kathmandu auna culture-wise was not such a problem because I knew I could escape to the past when I went to those parts of the city. For me, it was more of a problem of language, not being able to understand people here. I didn't have any friends here. I didn't have a life here. I had suddenly been pulled out of college and now I'm a married person. I'm a buhari, somebody's gharma aera basera herne. So for me, all that was extremely complicated. Also, let's understand the timeline. I came in 2006, which was politically a very complicated year for the country. So after I got engaged, there was 26 days of strikes or bands or something like that. And then I come here, a lot of political unrest was happening. We were at the cusp and the nation was sort of trying to understand how we would take ourselves forward. So it was a very challenging time for the country as well. Along with that came challenges for people like me, not enough electricity. Sometimes, gas cylinder pugya chaina, petrol chaina. So I grappled with all of this and these things were very alien to me. I had never seen things like this in my life. But then I think I fell in love with this city and everything changed. And I don't think I could ever live in India again. As much as I love Calcutta and as much as I love India and I'm proud to be Indian, I can't live there anymore. Either I'm going to have to live in Nepal for the rest of my life or maybe Europe. But for me, India is not an option. I don't know. I'm not that person anymore. Just to laksa.
Language barrier थियो भन्नु पनि हैन.
हजुर.
How do you see language? भाषालाई नै तपाई कसरी हेर्नुहुन्छ? किनभने के देखिन्छ भने मैले चाहिँ एउटा हजुरलाई धेरै जनाले तपाईको इंग्लिशको लागि कम्प्लिमेन्ट गरिरहेको देख्छु के. I don't know नेपालीको लागि के भन्छन् हैन. नेपाली पनि इक्वली
ठिकै छ.
It's good. It's good. कम्युनिकेट हुन्छ नि त मजाले. त्यसमा कुनै दुविधा नै छैन नि. So how do you see language?
I see language as a medium and I also believe it should not be a barrier. Right? Language shapes us in more ways than we can understand. When I speak in English, I feel I'm a different person versus when I speak in Bangla. Right? Or when I speak in Hindi. I speak 5.5 languages.
Wow.
Right? So when I speak in English, I think differently. I feel I'm different. I convey my messages in a different way versus when I speak in Bangla or Nepali or Hindi or Marwadi or French or whatever it is.
5.5. Half is French, right?
Actually, to be honest, I always say 5.5 and the half being French. French is not half. French is like 20%. Hola tarah tyo half e bhannu parcha hai na. But yes. So Malay language is a very important medium. It shapes the way you think. It shapes the way you feel. It shapes the way you communicate. It shapes you in many different ways. But it's a medium and we should not be a slave to language pani lagsa, right? A lot of people say, oh ma'am, mero communication skills ramro chaina. And I'm like, why? Ma'am, mero Angrezi ramro chaina. But my problem is that English is not the only language in which you can communicate. Your Nepali could be very good and you could be a great communicator. Nepali ma bolda kheri. And English is a language. It is not a measure of your communication skill because communication skills are completely different. त्यो language le flow dinsa होला. तर language ma it does not depend on the language. त्यसमा निर्भर छैन.
Or not even the measure of your intelligence.
Absolutely. I have a big problem with this. People are like, oh, they speak such good English. They must be intelligent. I'm like, no. I have seen complete idiots who speak fabulous English because that's the only language they know. Right?
Yeah.
But I also believe that if you speak English and Nepali and Punjabi and French and Tamil and whatever else, your brain is shuttling between languages, which is a great thing. That in itself is an understanding of some kind of cognitive prowess. Tapaiko kunai na kunai ekdamai ramro intelligence develops her to be able to switch between languages. That is also a great thing. And which language symbolizes you're more intelligent? Nothing at all. Intelligence does not depend on language. It's a different skill completely.
It's a different skill. अनि यो कस्तो पनि लागिरहेछ भने जस्तो एउटा कन्टेक्स्ट मेरो दुईजना साथीहरूसँग म एकचोटि घर लिएर गएको थिएँ क्या उता मोरङतिर अनि उनीहरू चाहिँ हामी खाना खान बसेको बेलामा उनीहरू दुईजना चाहिँ कम्प्लिटली इङ्ग्लिसमा कम्युनिकेट गरिरहेको थियो नि त अनि फेरि कस्तो हुँदो रहेछ भने कम्युनिकेट गर्दाखेरि एउटा मान्छेलाई कुन भाषामा धेरै कम्फोर्टेबल छ होइन जस्तो म आई क्यान स्पिक इङ्ग्लिस आई क्यान स्पिक नेपाली आई क्यान स्पिक हिन्दी होइन अनि अब कोही धेरै राम्रो इङ्ग्लिस बोल्ने मान्छे छ अथवा नेपालीमा गाह्रो हुने मान्छे छ भने उसँग इङ्ग्लिसमै कुरा गर्न पर्यो अनि कोही चाहिँ हिन्दीमा राम्रो छ भने उसँग हिन्दीमै कुरा गर्नु पर्यो नेपालीमा इङ्ग्लिसमा गाह्रो छ भने होइन अनि उनीहरूलाई अब सजिलोसँग चाहिँ हुन्छ नेचुरल्ली चाहिँ इङ्ग्लिसमा कम्युनिकेट भइरहेछ नि उनीहरू घर उता गइसकेपछि पछि मेरो मम्मीले गर्नु तिनीहरूले बोलेको तैँले बुझ्दैछ भन्नुभयो क्या मलाई
हो
अनि
बिकज शी थट यु वुड नट अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड एट अल
आई डोन्ट नो जिस्काएको हो कि थाहा छैन अनि तपाईँको छोराले पनि अलिअलि अङ्ग्रेजी पढेको छ भने मैले सो अनि अर्को एउटा के देखिन्छ भने आई थिङ्क पिपल विल गेट अफेन्डेड आई डोन्ट नो तर यो बढी इन्फ्लुएन्सरहरू भन्छौँ नि जसलाई हामी इन्स्टाग्राममा उसमा सोसल मिडियामा उहाँहरूको एउटा इट्स नट कुल एट अल होइन कुनै नेपाली शब्द बिगार्यो होइन बोल्दा बोल्दै बिग्रिन्छ नि त त्यसमा त ठुलो कुरा भएन तर they act as if it is something to be proud about
yes I know this and there's a very okay tell me I'll tell you something about this
अनि पहिला म सोसियोलोजीको एउटा क्लासमा त्यस्तै भएको थियो चपस्टिकलाई मैले होइन चपस्टिक म एउटा प्रेजेन्टेसन गर्दै थिएँ सो अमेरिका इज अ मेल्टिङ पट यस्तै के भन्ने मेरो प्रेजेन्टेसन थियो म चपस्टिकलाई मैले यो सिन्का कि के भन्दै क्या सिन्काई के भन्दै क्लासभरि सब हाँसेँ है अनि एकछिन चुप लागेर मेरो सोसियोलोजी पढाउने म्यामले चाहिँ तिमीहरूले एउटा नेपाली शब्द नबुझेर गर्व लागेर तिमीहरू हाँसिरहेछौ भने तिमीहरू जस्तो मूर्ख चाहिँ कोही पनि छैन भनिदिनु भयो होइन त्यसरी सबै चुप लाग्यो अनि अर्को एउटा टेन्डेन्सी कस्तो हुन्छ नि कसैले एउटा अङ्ग्रेजी बोल्दा बोल्दै केही त्रुटि गर्यो एउटा शब्द चाहिँ मिस्टेक भएर प्रोनाउन्सिएसनमा गलत गर्यो अथवा एउटा वर्ड भन्नुपर्ने ठाउँमा अर्को वर्ड भन्यो भने एकदमै लज्जा फिल गर्ने क्या एकदमै इम्ब्यारेस फिल गर्ने क्या ओ मेरो इङ्ग्लिस बिग्रियो भनेर फिल गर्ने तर त्यही फिलिङ नेपालीको लागि आउँदैन क्या नेपाली भाषाको लागि आउँदैन सो या
you know what this is I didn't realize it when I was a child तर म पनि त्यस्तै थिएँ जस्तो छ इन इन्डिया अब म इन्डियाको बारेमा चाइल्डहुडबाट म यता बाहिरसम्म लिएर आउँछु अहिलेसम्म इन्डियामा हुर्किँदाखेरि आई एम बोर्न इन 1985 ओके
भनेपछि एमएस धोनी भन्दै
थ्याङ्क यू
अघि हामी क्रिकेटले कनेक्ट भइरहेको थियो त्यही भएर
आई एम बोर्न इन 1985 राइट म सानो हुँदाखेरि लाइक when I was growing up let's understand India got independence from the British in 1947 correct so it was a newer democracy my grandparents had studied English in school because they had to study English right my father speaks amazing English my grandfather speaks amazing English my grandfather everybody at that point the British when they came into India one of the biggest things they did one of the biggest tools that they had was disintegrating our culture. Correct? Whether it meant तिमी British school मा छौ अथवा तिमी अंग्रेजी medium school मा छौ तिमी मेहन्दी लगाउन सक्दैनौ राखीको दिन तिमी बिदा पाउँदैनौ हैन these were subtle ways in which they eroded our culture. Okay? And because of this what happened was they kept on making us feel bad about ourselves and crush
inferiority
that. Absolutely. त्यो national pride जुन एउटा हुन्छ नि I am an Indian, I am brown, I speak Hindi and I'm proud of it. त्यो चाहिँ disintegrate भएपछि मान्छेको sense of strength पनि जान्छ जस्तो लाग्छ right? So for us, I grew up as the second generation after independence. त्यो colonization को hangover थियो हामी पनि त्यस्तै फिल गर्थ्यौं अंग्रेजी कूल छ हिंदी में मत बात करो हिंदी में बात करोगे तो तुम कूल नहीं लगोगे तुम इंटेलिजेंट नहीं लगोगे right so that was the kind of thought that I had growing up my father I didn't speak a word of English till I was 3 or 4 years of age I was not good and he used to tell me oh look at this one she speaks such good English तुम्हारा English अच्छा नहीं है तुम्हारे साथ कोई दोस्ती नहीं करेगा these are the things I heard growing up right And then my parents put in a lot of effort to teach me English because they only believe that if you don't speak in English, you won't get a job. You won't have any future, nothing at all, right? त्यो जुन एउटा इन्डियामा त्यो जुन फिलिङ थियो मलाई लाग्छ त्यो फिलिङ आजको दिनमा अलिकता डिसइन्टिग्रेट भएको छ. इट्स गोइङ अवे. हिन्दी इज कुल अगेन, यु नो. इन्डियामा पिपल आर नाउ लाइक ओके हाम्रो म्युजिक, हाम्रो फिल्म, हाम्रो भाषालाई प्रमोट गर्नुपर्छ, हाम्रो साहित्यलाई प्रमोट गर्नुपर्छ. त्यो एउटा न्यू वेभ आइरहेछ. हाम्रो त्यो आई थिङ्क द थर्ड जेनेरेसन र द फोर्थ जेनेरेसन आफ्टर कलोनाइजेसन इज अगेन त्यो एउटा त्यो गोइङ ब्याक टु द रुट्स. हाम्रो संस्कृति के छ, हाम्रो सभ्यता के छ, हाम्रो साहित्य के छ, हाम्रो म्युजिक के छ, हाम्रो सबै के छ. तर मेरो डिफल्ट ल्याङ्ग्वेज त इङ्ग्लिस भइसक्यो. त्यो चेन्ज गर्न त टाइम लाग्छ मलाई. आई थिङ्क इन इङ्ग्लिस, राइट? My son thinks in English. Why? Now the second wave of influence that is coming is not people with guns, and it's not the East India Company. It's not the British monarchy. Now it's media.
It's not,
and now because media has made English so important, because that is the one language that unifies the world, because the British basically had conquered the entire world and everyone started speaking in English in different parts of the world. Because of that, now the media has made it important for us to understand and to speak in English, which is why most of the videos that I create are in English, because now it is not about मलाई गर्व छ म इङ्ग्लिस बोल्न सक्छु. एब्सोल्युटली नट. त्यो प्राइडको कुरा छैन. नाउ इट इज अबाउट कन्भिनियन्स.
कति मान्छेसम्म म मेरो कुरा पुर्याउँछु.
एब्सोल्युटली. अब यो कन्भिनियन्सको कुरा छ. मेरो लागि डिफल्ट ल्याङ्ग्वेज पनि अङ्ग्रेजी भएर अलि सजिलो भयो, प्लस कन्भिनियन्ट पनि छ, त्यसको रिच पनि बेसी छ. तर त्यो प्राइडको कुरा छैन कि मेरो अङ्ग्रेजी राम्रो छ. आजको दिन वेन पिपल टेल मी मान्छे तिम्रो नेपाली कति राम्रो भइसक्यो, कति मिठो बोल्छौ, आई फिल सो प्राउड, किनकि मैले त भर्खर सिकेको भाषा.
यसमा त एफोर्ट छ नि त.
एकदम एफर्ट छ नि. एकदम एफर्ट हालेर सिकेको. अङ्गालोको मतलब पनि थाहा थिएन होइन. एकचोटि स्टेजमा एउटा मिटिङ भएर एउटा प्रेजेन्टेसनहरू केही भइरहेको थिएन. आई वाज सिटिङ इन दि अडियन्स. एउटा एकदमै फेमस मान्छेले अङ्गालो भन्नुभयो, मलाई मिनिङ थाहा थिएन. स्टेजबाट निस्किनु बित्तिकै दाई अङ्गालो के हुन्छ मलाई भन्नु. You know, so I've put in a lot of effort to learn the Nepali that I've learned. I've put in a lot of effort to speak in the way I speak. And whenever somebody compliments me, I have a friend here Nepali, and he told me अस्ति हामी थकाली खाना खाँदाखेरि मलाई आई थिङ्क मेरो फेभरेट फुड नेपालको मोमो त नम्बर 1 होला, तर अ क्लोज नम्बर 1 विल अल्सो हेभ टु बी ढेडो. के मलाई ढेडो लास्ट मनपर्छ. आई क्यान इट ढेडो 3 times a day, every day of my life. Foodie? Oh yeah, big foodie. Can you not see it? I love it, होइन. So अस्ति ढेडो खाँदाखेरि त्यो एउटा अचार थियो कि त्यो करेलाको अचार हुन्छ नि.
करेलाको अचार.
I don't have that, होइन. त्यो अचारको त्यो मलाई लेदो मनपर्छ.
Gravy part.
See, you said gravy, I said ledo, right? So I said to the bhai, I was like, bhai, यसको अलिकता लेदो लिएर आउनु न, लेदो चाहियो. Wow. And this friend is sitting opposite me. He's like, wow, I would have said gravy. I said, exactly. I said ledo. So he's like, तिमी म भन्दा धेरै बेसी नेपाली भइसक्यो होइन. ढेडो खाइरा, गोलभेडाको अचार खाइरा, लेदो खोजिरा होइन. I am the most Nepali person sometimes भित्रबाट. When I go into like certain occasions, I feel so connected to the country, to the people, to the food, to the language here.
ढेडो is your favorite food भन्नुभयो.
I can eat unlimited amounts of potato with ghee. Wow. Ani, you know, sometimes they have त्यो आलु त्यो के भन्छ आलु तारेको
तामा
आलु तारेको ढेडो घिउ गोलभेडाको अचार. Oh my god, it's a strange combination होला, but I love it.
Wow, spicy or
moderately spicy? Yeah, moderately spicy.
म त अहिले केही सजेस्ट गर्न सक्दिनँ. यो चाहिँ तपाईँले ट्राई गर्नु भने, बिकज आइ एम नट अ फुडी. म चाहिँ खालि सर्भाइभल इन्स्टिङ्क्ट मात्रै हो जस्तो लाग्छ मेरो लागि. नो आई मिन कल्चर नो. फुडसँग म चाहिँ कसरी कनेक्टेड छु भने, पहिलो कुरा त आई इट टु सर्भाइभ, पहिलो नम्बरमा. त्यस पछाडि फुडले मलाई घरसँग जोड्छ, मेरो घरसँग. म अहिले घरबाट त टाढा छु नि त. अनि यहाँ खाना खाँदाखेरि, यहाँ बाहिर खाँदा कहिलेकाहीँ यु नो मिल्दैन नि त. बाहिरको खाना र घरको खाना फरक हुन्छ नि त. अनि ठिक छ, घरमा यस्तो खाइन्थ्यो. अनि त्यो चाहिँ घरमा बसुन्जेलसम्म, खाउन्जेलसम्म चाहिँ लाइक सो मेनी थिङ्स द्याट वी हेभ टेकन फर ग्रान्टेड. त्यो फुडलाई पनि मैले आई ह्याड टेकन इट फर ग्रान्टेड नि त. या यहाँ सी त्यो
You miss that flavor of home. And I think I'm going home. I'm going to India after a month, I know.
ए
And 2 days ago, I made a list and I told my mom, like WhatsApp ma मैले list पठाएँ मलाई यो खानुपर्छ सबै प्रिपेयर गरेर राख्नु हैन. So she's like, okay, 9 days को भयो 3-4 दिनको अझै सोचेर भन्दियो मलाई. So I've given her 9 days को menu मलाई के खानुपर्छ. Because food is also about memories, I think.
True.
It's so much of culture and memories and
food and culture.
Absolutely. They're
Goes
very well
together, right?
synced in together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when you're from Calcutta, food is a part of your daily conversation also.
हो
Oh my God. There's a saying, you know, in Calcutta.
किन आज के खाने
No. When you're sitting for breakfast, you are thinking about lunch ma ke pakaune and you're planning dinner ma ke pakaune.
Wow.
And you're thinking about tomorrow, you know. So it's about like food is a never ending process just to like okay. So yeah, when I go to India, it's trust me, there's so much of conversation around food, which doesn't happen so much in Nepal just to lagcha.
हो
Now I think with a lot of food bloggers, there's maybe more content on food in Nepal.
काठमाडौँमा अलि बढी अझ नेवारी कल्चरमा छिर्ने हो भने चाहिँ फुडको त्यो अलि डाइभर्स
हो.
देखिन्छ होइन.
हो.
अरू चाहिँ आई डोन्ट नो मैले बढी एक्सप्लोर नगरे नि हुनसक्छ. मेरोतिर चाहिँ छैन खासै.
Okay, मलाई कल्चरमा अब like when I went to नेपालमा पनि सिन्धुपाल चोकमा I found amazing food. Amazing, होइन. हामी शेर मान्थाङ गएको थियौँ सिन्धुपाल चोकमा last year. And there I found a lot of very good things like rildo.
Sorry?
Yummy. Rildo. You don't know about
No.
it. Who's more Nepali here in this room right now? होइन. rildo मैले पकाएँ पनि. rildo मैले पकाएँ पनि
Rildo.
खाएँ पनि. Butter tea, होइन.
Butter tea, yeah.
नुन चिया भन्छ त्यसलाई.
Yeah, I know butter
Butter
tea.
tea.
त्यो पनि थाहा भएन भने त म देश छोडे हुन्छ.
त्यो नागरिकता फिर्ता लिन्छ के हो होइन. So I think मैले I like to explore food wherever I go. तर क्यालकटा जतिको फुड कल्चर मैले यहाँ पाएन त्यो हो. नेवारी कल्चरमा छ. नेवार पिपल लभ देयर फुड. दे टक अबाउट पोक्सो यो त्यो मोस्ट अफ विच आई कान्ट इट बिकज आई एम भेरी भेजिटेरियन होइन. तर क्यालकटा very vegetarian.
As in more than a vegetarian.
I'm more than a vegetarian. I don't eat anda. Like anda is very vegetarian. You don't eat anda? Even I'm like vegetarian.
Vegan चाहिँ होइन म तर म एक पनि नखाने भेजिटेरियन हो.
म पनि. I call that very vegetarian. But I'm also very hypocritical very vegetarian जस्तो लाग्छ.
कसरी?
Because so while I don't eat anda, here's the bad part of it.
I know what it is.
I can eat anda if I can't see anda. You know what I mean? Cake. You know, so I will eat anda if I can't see it. Like I can't eat an omelette or I can't eat poached eggs, boiled eggs, whatever types of eggs there are. I can't eat it. But if you put it in a cake and you give it to me, it's a cake. So I will eat it. So that way I'm quite a hypocrite just to lagcha.
Okay.
But yeah.
तर म चाहिँ I try to make sure एक भएको कि नभएको केक हो भनेर.
Egg नभएको
हो कि भएको भनेर. I mean I try to make sure सुरुमा अनि खान थाहा छैन भन्यो भने चाहिँ.
But you know, there's so much of egg in things like bread, cookies, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So I realized I can't
सबै अभोइड गरेर सकिँदैन पनि.
बाहिर त I've heard आइसक्रिममा पनि हुन्छ. So I don't know. So egg चाहिँ म त्यति धेरै त्यसको त्यो गरेको छैन. But if I can see egg, I can't eat it. I've never had it. I don't like that smell. So त्यो सक्दिनँ.
स्मेल या. So yeah, नेवारी फुड को कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ I'm very vegetarian भनेर आएको. Please carry on.
So नेवारी food culture छ तर I feel that in Nepal I mean there are food cultures which are very well developed. I just don't know that much about them hola. But people here don't talk about food all the time. Like in Calcutta, people talk about food. It's a thing. It's a topic to talk about all the time. All the time. त्यो चाहिँ यहाँ त्यति धेरै छ.
एउटा कुरा भनिदिनुहोस् न. अघि त्यो यो भनेर लिस्ट भन्नुभएको थियो नि.
You want to hear that list?
त्यो सबै नभने नि एक दुईवटा कुनै रेकमेन्डेसन हामीलाई ट्राई नै गर्न
अप्ठ्यारो हुन्छ किनकि धेरै कुरा पाउँदैन नेपालमा होइन.
हेरौँ के फिजिबल छ त्यो गरौँ न अन्त.
मटर की कचौड़ी एन्ड आलुदम. मटर like peas.
मटर
हिन्दी वर्ड्स हो हिन्दीमा भन्नुपर्छ.
Yeah, sure.
मटर की कचौड़ी और आलूदम.
Yeah.
पापड़ी चाट. You know papri chaat?
Heard of it.
You've heard of it, okay. Masala dosa.
Yeah, absolutely, I've tried it.
You've tried it, okay.
South Indian.
It's Indian food, yeah. It's South Indian food. Masala dosa. Bisabila bhat. which is South Indian
Sorry?
food. बिसेबिला भात,
बिसेबिला भात
which is
पहिला त
South
नाम
Indian.
याद गर्नुपर्ने रहेछ
अलि गाह्रो छ. अनि त्यसपछि, now this is all Indian food. Now I'm going to talk about Marwadi food, which is not commonly found in every place in India also. Gatte ki sabji.
गट्टा इज अ फर्सी.
No,
Let me guess.
no. Oh my God, okay. So you know what Marwadi people are? You know anything about Marwadi people?
थोर मेरो एकजना साथीहरू छ.
Ha, so you just know they are Marwadi, but what does Marwadi mean? You don't know.
म अहिले त्यो जोखिम उठाउँदिनँ, तपाईँ भन्नुहोस्.
जोखिम उठाउँदिन. Marwadis are people from a place called Marwad, which is in Rajasthan, which is in northwestern India, northern India bhanum na. So Rajasthan is a state which used to be a desert. अहिले पनि desert छ, तर अहिले irrigation projects हरु धेरै पुग्या छ. Indira Gandhi National Canal Project or some national irrigation project भनेर छ एउटा जस्तो छ. So a lot of irrigation has happened. So now Rajasthan is growing crops and farming हरु अलिअलि भइरहेछ पहिला भन्दा. Thar desert भनेर ठुलो desert छ त्यहाँ, हैन? So my ancestors, because we are Marwadi, they are from there. हाम्रो कल्चरमा राइस खाने कल्चर छैन, because rice needs water, right? Vegetables खाने छैन हाम्रोमा, because vegetables need water. So फर्सी जस्तो कुरा हाम्रो लागि लग्जरी थियो. So Rajasthani अथवा मारवाडी खाना is about ज्वार, bajra, atta also, but less. Anything that can grow in a desert, anything that grows without water. So our food is mostly dal, churma, anything that can be cooked, that can be preserved, either that, because it was very hot, no water, and they could not cook every day because utensils for hunsa ni, utensils safa garne pani pani hudaina ni desert ma. So our food, when I say gatta is actually besan dal haru milaera, haina? They make these long things.
Sticks?
No. I don't know what to say, but like long things, and then they cut it, so small pieces, and they cook it in a curry, in a gravy. So gatta, sangri is literally like a thorny bush lai liera. They dry it, and then they cook that with a lot of spices, a lot of oil, very rich, so that it stays and it's preserved even in the heat. So our food depends on our geography, and it's all connected to our geography and the way things came. So Marwadi food is never about vegetables. It's always about desert ma ke pairach cha. त्यसलाई हामी कसरी cook गर्ने, सबभन्दा कम पानीमा, अनि यति oil हाल्दिने, यति घिउ हाल्दिने, यति नुन हाल्दिने, that food does not get spoiled in spite of the heat, in spite of no refrigeration, because obviously this food was developed many years ago. And that is why our culture is so different. So we have dal ki puri, we have gatte ki sabji, sangri, achars. All of these things are Rajasthani food. So when I go back this time, I've already given my mom a list of all the Rajasthani things I want to eat, because यहाँ चाहिँ त्यति धेरै पाउँदैन.
So हामीलाई there are 4 food recommendations. And
के छ भन्नुहोस्, याद छ?
पछि हेर्छु न भिडियो.
Of course, names are not easy, but yeah.
त्यो पछिको लागि पनि स्टोर गर्ने गरी राखिन्थ्यो, राइट?
हाम्रो अचार धेरै हुन्छ नि, राजस्थानी खानामा अचार धेरै हुन्छ, पापड धेरै हुन्छ.
अचार के को बनाउनुहुन्छ प्राय?
Everything. Anything that they would find, they would make achar out of it, because it stays. Achar stays.
त्यो तेल र खोर्सानी र नुनमा डुबाएपछि
everything stays, right? So they would make achar out of everything because it was so hot. त्यो नकोस, त्यसको लागि अचार बनाउँथ्यो के?
केमा स्टोर केमा गरिन्छ?
सेरामिक को त्यो ठुलो जार्समा स्टोर गरेर राख्छ. सेरामिकमा हो. And they would dig it under the ground because temperatures go to above 50 sometimes in Rajasthan. So they would dig it, put it in the sand, keep it cool so that the achar would not get spoiled. Traditionally, अब तो केही छैन त्यस्तो, हैन?
यो एउटा त्यस्तै खालको प्र्याक्टिस चाहिँ हाम्रोतिर चाहिँ you obviously know गुन्द्रुक, right? Because you are more Nepali than me.
Of course, I love गुन्द्रुक. हो.
गुन्द्रुक बनाउने प्रक्रिया थाहा छ हजुरलाई?
त्यो एकदम त्यो फर्मेन्टेड हुन्छ.
त्यो पनि डिग गरेरै खाँदेर अनि सर्टेन टाइम पछाडि निकालेर एन्ड देन कुनै चिजमा स्टोर गरिन्छ कुनै एउटा भेसलमा. So it's a process. त्यो चाहिँ हुन्छ हाम्रोतिर. So that's the only food that I can think of which stays longer.
Yeah. So Rajasthanमा food has to be like that. हाम्रो you know papad, right? Papad जुन पोलेर खान्छ. राजस्थानमा पापडको तरकारी पनि बनाउँछ, पापडको ग्रेभी बनाउँछ कि पापड की सब्जी. because papad stays,
Okay.
right? Mogar, papad stays. So when you don't have access to fresh vegetables, take papad, make a gravy out of papad and eat that. Testo pani hunthyo. And I love it.
अघि एउटा एउटा एकदमै मेरो मेरो चाहिँ सबैभन्दा इन्ट्रेस्टिङ कुरा मेरो लागि चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने क्रिकेट हो के. अनि अघि हामीले क्रिकेटको कुरा गर्दा गर्दै यता आयौँ अनि मलाई त्यो क्रिकेटमा एकछिन बस्न मन थियो. सो आई थिङ्क मैले यसो सम्झिँदाखेरि आई हेभ नेभर बिन सो प्यासनेट अबाउट एनिथिङ एल्स. क्रिकेट मैले यस्तो खेलेँ बच्चामा होइन. आई प्लेड अ लट अफ क्रिकेट. आई वाच क्रिकेट अ लट. अहिले पनि हेर्छु. अनि रिसेन्टली हजुर पनि एउटा क्रिकेट टिमसँग एसोसिएट हुनुहुन्थ्यो होइन. उहाँहरूसँग एउटा प्रोजेक्टमा अथवा एउटा टुर्नामेन्टमा काम गर्नुभयो. वाट डिड यु डु फर देम? के गर्नुभयो?
के गर्नुभयो? I was, so I'll just give you a brief.
Yeah.
Nepal T20 League भएको थियो and त्यो लिगमा 6वटा टिम्स थियो. There was one team called Lumbini All Stars. First edition थियो लिगको. अनि लुम्बिनी अल स्टार्सको लागि म चाहिँ ब्रान्ड स्ट्रेटेजिस्ट थिएँ होइन. सो त्यो ब्रान्डलाई कसरी अगाडि बढाउने, लुम्बिनी अल स्टार्स एज अ कम्पनी, एज एन एन्टिटी, what is the story of this brand? What does this brand stand for? What are the different narratives that we have to share in the media about the brand? I was the one who was handling that and working on that. I had a team of people.
Okay.
So त्यो टिमको anthem देखि लिएर, press conferences देखि लिएर, everything I was working for and handling for them. So for me, working with Lumbini All Stars was not just a great opportunity to meet amazing people, but also to get a sort of a pause from my life. Okay, मेरो life is very corporate जस्तो होइन. अब companiesहरूमा training दिने, I'm going and speaking to people all the time. I'm giving training sessions here and there. But this was actually an opportunity for me to apply everything that I was talking about in the real world and to also be in a cricket stadium or on the cricket field rather than in...
Back in the cricket stadium.
Absolutely. Back from Eden Gardens to TU, right? So from Eden Gardens to TU. And I was back there and I was sometimes sitting in the media center of TU. Sometimes I was sitting with my team. Sometimes I was sitting in the dugout, not in the dugouts, we were not allowed to go, but sometimes with my team, with my group in the VIP section where we were all waiting and working from. So for me, it was a great opportunity to not only get back into, that closeness with cricket, because after my grandfather's death, I never watched a single match. एउटा पनि मैले म्याच हेरेको छैन 9 वर्षमा. हजुरबुवा बितेपछि, किनकि he was cricket for me. It was about my grandfather. It was never about the match. Wow. So after he passed away, I didn't watch a single match. And तर यो लुम्बिनी अल स्टार्सले गर्दा मैले म्याच पनि हेरेँ. गुड न्युज, हाम्रो टिमले जित्यो.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But it also gave me an opportunity, I think, to see a different part of the world, to meet these fabulous cricketers, to understand who they are, how they think, and to understand the ethos behind sport. Because to be a sports person, to be in that position where your glory and your failures are both very public is not easy. So to understand their mindset and to become friends with some of these cricketers was, I think, one of the biggest honors that I've had in the last few months. Very happy.
I think cricketers and in general sports person are saying they're always on the sport ni ta. Ani फेलियर एकदमै सक्सेसमा पनि एकदमै ग्लोरी पाउने होइन, ग्लोरिफाइड हुन्छ मिडियाले बेसिकल्ली. अनि फेलियरमा पनि अब त्यो पुरै नगरौँ कस्तो हुन्छ होइन. अब इन्डियामा त झन् अब तपाईँले त देख्नु भयो होला. सो माई फेभरेट क्रिकेटर MS धोनी, माही मलाई धेरै मनपर्छ. सो माहीको त पोस्टरहरू पहिला त्यो एउटा वर्ल्ड कपमा हारेर आउँदाखेरि होइन, पोस्टर जलाएको, घरमा गएर तोडफोड गरेको यताउता छ नि त. अनि पछि अब उसले 3टा ICC टुर्नामेन्ट जितिसके पछाडि अहिले त अब ग्रेटेस्ट क्याप्टेन इन द वर्ल्ड भनेर झन् उसलाई कसरी रेभर गरिन्छ होइन. सो एकदमै त्यो एक्सट्रिम्समा जाने है, यो पब्लिक वाट डु वी से इट, पब्लिक मेन्टालिटी भनौँ न, मब मेन्टालिटी चाहिँ. अब जित्दाखेरि चाहिँ एकदम भगवानै बनाउने, देवत्वकरण गर्ने, हार्दाखेरि पनि त्यो हारलाई पनि हिज हियर दे सी इज अल्सो ह्युमन भन्ने नहेरिकन हारिसकेपछि उसलाई चाहिँ डेमन नै बनाउने क्या. सो आई डोन्ट नो, लाइक के गर्न सकिन्छ यसमा? के गर्न सकिँदैन.
आई थिङ्क पिपल more than anything else, this extreme reaction that you get
True.
from people is just a mirror of the passion that they have. Is a mirror of their passion, is a mirror of the fact that they love the sport so much.
Or also maybe a mirror of their attachment to a certain identity, a belief system.
A belief system, more than identity, I'll say belief system. And also their emotional investment in the game. Let's understand this.
Okay.
When an important cricket match happens, होइन? But see, tell me, India ma अब फुटबलमा के भइरहेछ मान्छेलाई त्यति धेरै फरक पर्दैन, right? It is about that particular sport in that country,
True.
right? So when an important cricket match happens, people don't study. People will go घरमा बत्ती छैन भने नेबरको घरमा अथवा हिँडेर बाटोसम्म
They'll make sure जसरी भने
कुनै इलेक्ट्रोनिक्सको शोरूम छ त्यहाँ बाहिर उभिएर हेर्छ हैन.
True.
The kind of work that people put in, the kind of effort people put in to actually enjoy games is so huge that they want that payback. That becomes like gratification for them when we win, right? So I don't blame people in a lot of ways because that has become a part of their belief system. Cricket and Bollywood have united that country. What do we do? It is the truth. They have united that country. In 1983, when India was grappling and there were, so many wars and all sorts of problems were happening in that country. When there was unrest, there was, emergency bhayra niskya thiyo, wars bhayra niskya thiyo, ke bhat thiyo ke? So much upheaval. Suddenly, one group of 11 boys goes and makes us proud on the international platform. Suddenly, we have something that unites us. Suddenly, so much seems possible. Suddenly, a generation is allowed to dream. Suddenly, a generation is given the belief that we are bigger than our failures, bigger than our past. So when any sport in any part of that world has that kind of power, that sport also deserves the respect. Also, all the people associated with that sport have to respect the responsibility that they have got now to make it as good as they can. So yes, of course, I don't believe in burning houses and burning posters of people. That is stupid. But I understand where people come from because they attach so much meaning to that victory. So much meaning. Right. And this has now become generational. Okay? 3 generations are like crazy about cricket. Because that is what we've been taught in a lot of ways.
True. Now let's talk about Imagine Nepal.
Imagine Nepal. Oh my God. Yes.
Yes. Bring it on.
I love this.
Imagine Nepal. How did you get into Imagine Nepal? How did you get into Imagine Nepal?
How did I get into Imagine Nepal? I had never imagined that I would get into Imagine Nepal. I got a call one day very randomly from Prakash. Prakash is the director.
Prakash Kanda,
Prakash Kanda, of course. He calls me. He's like, "Hi, I'm Prakash. I'm calling from Uptrendy. Tapaiko number Monaik le diyo eta uta. I want to talk to you." We got on a Zoom call. He told me about this show which would be 7 content creators traveling to one province of Nepal, creating 7 videos. I loved the concept. I fell in love with the concept of the show. I was so happy about the entire way they had formatted the show. I think this was something that was absolutely important for the country, jasto pani lagyo. Important for television, important for children who are going to be watching from home. So I was sold on the idea. And then, after the Zoom call is over, I think about it. And at night, I get super anxious. I'm like, I am not strong enough, capable enough, smart enough to be doing this.
Okay.
I am just not the right person because I'm not good enough.
Oh, what? You're not a content creator?
I'm not a content creator. I'm not a vlogger.
Okay.
I'm not an Abhin. I'm not a Darshan. I don't know how to make videos. I write. I speak. I don't do these things. So in my head, I was so scared. I called Prakash. I said, Prakash, look for somebody else. Don't waste any time on me. I'm not going to be doing this show. He said, Hun sir, let's meet for lunch. Ittike bhetum na, kura garum na. And then Prakash got with him Monayak. Do you know Monayak?
I know.
He is like this charmer. This guy, I think, manages to talk his way into everything. And in this 2-hour conversation with Monayak, by the end of it, not only has he convinced me to do the show, I'm actually thinking of scripts in my head.
Wow.
So Monayak has managed to not only convince me, he has managed to excite me about the show. And I think the next 6 months of my life were all about Imagine Nepal. So how I got into Imagine Nepal, nagarne, oh my God, let's do this. It became that. And I was super excited about the show. It turned out to be a show which I lost eventually. But I think it was never about that trophy for me. As much as I would have loved to win it, it wasn't about that trophy. It was about these wonderful experiences that show gave me that possibly nothing else can. The friends I made, the fact that I got to share things from my perspective, the fact that 2 days ago I was in Biratnagar, I was doing a workshop in Biratnagar 2 days ago, and one guy comes and tells me, "Ma'am, I know you did not win Imagine Nepal, tara maile tapaiko लागि धेरै vote gare." And I'm like, oh, how sweet is that,
Yeah,
you know?
right.
So in a lot of ways, that just became something that gave me a bigger platform, that gave me an opportunity to see Nepal closer than anything else would have. That gave me an opportunity to understand how people work in terms of direction and cinematography. That also gave me an opportunity to understand myself a bit better and how I behave and deal with certain situations. So for me, Imagine Nepal trophy मेरो हातमा छैन, मेरो घरमा छैन, but it was a win-win completely.
So अनि त्यो बागमती प्रदेश चुज गर्नु भएन?
हजुर,
चुज गर्ने के दिन छ कि कसरी हो?
मेरो फर्स्ट चोइस थियो 7 नम्बर, द्याट इज सुदूर पश्चिम. तर बागमती मैले किन चुज गरेँ किनकि 25 दिनको हाम्रो सुट स्केड्युल थियो. अनि 25 दिनसम्म घरमा बाबुलाई छोडेर जान गाह्रो लागिरहेको थियो मलाई. सो मैले बागमती प्रदेश चुज गरेँ किनकि बागमतीमा यस्तो थियो, काठमाडौँले हामीले आफ्नो केन्द्र बनाएर वरिपरि घुम्न पाएँ नि त. सो 5-6 दिन बाहिर सुट गर्ने, घर आउने, काठमाडौँ आउने, बाबुसँग बस्ने, अनि 5-6 दिन जाने के. त्यो कारणले मैले बागमती छाने. एन्ड आइम भेरी ग्ल्याड आई गट बागमती बिकज हाम्रो आफ्नो प्रदेश हो. हामीलाई लाग्छ हामीलाई बागमतीको बारेमा सबै थाहा छ
र
यही हो,
देखाउनलाई के छ र जस्तो लाग्छ.
तर मैले अब 49 minutes of content त बनाउन पाएँ नि, which was amazing. So बागमतीमा पनि यस्तो कति धेरै कुरा छ जसको बारेमा हामीलाई केही थाहा छैन, that needs to be and that deserves to be explored. And I got a chance to explore that. So for me, that was truly a great option.
कुनै एउटा रमाइलो क्षण केही छ त्यो बेलाको सम्झिनुहोस्?
एउटा रमाइलो क्षण छैन, पुरै ट्रिपै रमाइलो भयो हाम्रो. 25 दिन was super रमाइलो. धेरै कुरा हामीले गर्न पाएँ, धेरै कुरा सिक्न पाएँ, धेरै कुरा हेर्न पाएँ. तर मेरो लागि I think the one place that I've possibly left a bit of my heart in is Gatlang. Gatlang is in Rasua. अनि काठमाडौँबाट धेरै टाढा छैन डिस्टेन्स वाइज, तर थट प्रोसेस वाइज अनि मेन्टालिटी वाइज अनि त्यहाँको मान्छेको रहन सहन वाइज एकदमै डिफ्रेन्ट छ. गतलाङ इज अ स्मल सेटलमेन्ट भन्नुपर्छ on the slopes of the mountains. I think from there you can see, if I'm not mistaken, the Annapurna range. Dekhcha alikata part of it. Gatlangma basne Tamang community ko mancheharu chan. There are no proper roads in Gatlang. It's a small community of around 3,000 people only. Proper roads haru kehi chaina. It's just little lanes, little lanes. Barang jasto stones ko banako. The community there is a community of sharing. It's a shared community. It's an open community. Everybody knows everybody. Houses ko roofs pani chhana pani shared cha. Khal banaira thyo tyako mancheharu. And they were making the khal together by themselves. Dunga podira cha ghar bahira basera. खल खनिरहेको थियो त्यो. Sorry. Dhal. Why am I saying khal? What's a khal? I don't know. I think the dogs are distracting us. What's a khal? I don't know what a khal is. Khal is nothing. It's not even a word. Dhal khanira. I think dhal khanne became khal.
Yeah.
हैन?
ढ र ख मिलेर.
No, it was dhal खनिरहेको थियो हैन. मान्छेहरुले सबैले मिलेर सँगै गर्यो. And the people there are so warm, so welcoming, and they just made us feel so comfortable at home. I went to a homestay, slept on the floor with a didi and her 4 kids.
Wow.
The kind of work they put in there, the kind of spirituality they have. छोड्तेन छ
Spirituality.
एकदमै
Okay.
हो. प्रत्येक घरमा एउटा सानो ठाउँ हुन्छ where they have their Buddhist त्यो फ्ल्याग्सहरू राखेर अलिकता प्रेयरको त्यो कुराहरू के राख्छ.
मूर्ति पनि
मूर्ति त छैन, there are
मूर्ति त
मूर्ति खास चाहिँ
मूर्तिलेस नै
छैन,
हो.
but they have like little urns like त्यो त्यसमा के राख्छन् मलाई थाहा छैन एक्ज्याक्टली के राख्छन्, तर सानो फ्ल्याग्सहरू हुन्छ होइन. And the people there are the most simple, easy to understand, easy to work with people. They have no real great expectation or wants from you. They're just willing to share and to give. And I think for me, Gatlang is really not something, and I said this in my video. You know, we think that नेपालको यो जुन ठाउँहरू छ जुन अलि रुरल मान्छौँ हामी, अलि दुर्गम पुग्न गाह्रो छ होइन. We think these places are not modern. We think that we, with our fancy clothes and our fancy aeroplanes and our fancy laptops, we are the modern people. We are living in the world of tomorrow. But that's not true at all. When I went to Gatlang, I realized that that particular community has laid the foundations for a society that we want to create. What kind of a society do we want? Self-sustainable.
Happy. Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay. Self-sustainable. Self-sustainability छ त्यहाँ.
Self-sustainability.
सबै कुरा आफै बनाउँछ, आफै ग्रो गर्छ, त्यहाँ खनिरा छ, त्यहाँ काम आफै गर्छ, त्यहाँ धागो बनाएर आफै लुगा बनाउँछ, everything. Self-sustainable.
Number one.
We want a community that is safe for our children, right? Close-knit community, safe for our children. त्यो पनि छ. Everybody knows everybody. It's like a shared community. Kids are playing together, parents are raising children together, everyone's eating together, everyone's talking together, walking together. Completely like that. Spiritual, कति spirituality छ त्यहाँ. छोड्तेनहरू बनेको छ. There is like, you know, people who are celebrating different events and festivals together. Cultural. Culture मा कति focus छ. The jewelry they wear is different. Is beautiful. Their clothes are so vibrant, so full of culture. That Tamang culture ko euta pride त्यहाँ मैले पाएँ. All of these things in total, हैन? Plus so much of giving, so much of love, so much of happiness, so much satisfaction. The Didi I was staying with in her house, she has 5 children, okay? One was in Kathmandu with the father at that point, 4 were with her. बच्चालाई बोकेर हैन यस्तो पछाडी एउटा स्मल यस्तो केनको बक्स जस्तोमा बच्चालाई बोकेर दिनभरि काम गर्नुभयो दिदीले. राति मैले सोधेँ, दिदी गाह्रो भएन तपाईँलाई, अप्ठ्यारो छैन, लाइक थाक्नु भएको छैन? आर यु ह्याप्पी? भेरी ह्याप्पी. म जति ह्याप्पी कोही पनि छैन. Now look at that satisfaction.
Where does that come from?
It comes from this internal peace and this not having wants, not wanting, not craving, not desiring. So much satisfaction. She has a small house. Hamro lagi sano hola tyo ghar. But that peace that she experiences, you and me possibly can't imagine that in our fast-paced world. So I went to Gatlang and I saw a blueprint of the world we want to create, not the world we've left behind. So when I travel around different places in Nepal, now my quest is, and actually this is just a secret plan that I have, and I've not spoken about it publicly in the media. Okay. My secret plan is exclusive. Breaking news. Mannsi Agrawal le afno secret plan media ma bhane. No, the exclusive alikata gardinu parcha.
Okay, I know gardim.
You know, but my quest really is that one day I want to travel extensively in parts of Nepal, parts of India, Bhutan, maybe even parts of Bangladesh, this part of the subcontinent, because we have a lot of understandings and a lot of spirituality and a lot of internal beliefs that we have lost somewhere, and that if we translate properly and if we put it and juxtapose it or superimpose it on the world of tomorrow, we can create the world we want. Okay. So I really want to take maybe 3 months, 6 months, a year, depending on my budget and my time, to travel around these parts of the world and to create content, maybe to write about what I saw, about what we think are outdated, obsolete concepts, but actually that rituals. Are concepts and rituals and culture and heritage that we think are पौराणिक पुरानो छ हैन त्यसको आजको वर्ल्ड रेलेभेन्सै छैन हामीलाई लाग्छ होला तर साच्चै that can be the map, the roadmap and the blueprint of the world we want to create.
Right.
And one of the big secret missions I have is maybe to travel around these parts of the world. Nepal, India, Bhutan, Bangladesh, these 4 countries, because they're easy for me jasto lagcha, to travel in all 4 of these and to get that old culture out and to be able to share it with the world. And maybe, hopefully, we'll get some ideas that we can implement in our modern lives to make them more aligned to where we want to go.
Do you meditate?
Not enough.
Not enough, Vanali?
I wish I meditated a bit more.
Okay.
But
so you meditate, right?
Not enough.
None.
Not
Okay,
regularly,
no.
intermittently. I am a very bad, disobedient, indisciplined meditator.
Okay. What do you do? What's meditation for you?
That's a great question. What does meditation mean? Meditation ultimately means connecting with something inside you and connecting with something above you, right?
Right.
I feel that there are 2 ways that I meditate. One is when I consciously sit down and on my computer I put on meditation music and I'm like, okay, for 5 minutes or 7 minutes, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to be here, but I'm going to just completely focus on my breath or focus on that, whatever I want to. But on the other hand, I feel sometimes that I get into a meditative mood even when I'm not actually meditating. And that meditative mood sometimes happens to me when I'm on stage and I feel so connected to my breath and to my heartbeat.
I think that's flow state for you.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
For me, speaking on stage is flow, right? And that makes me feel as close as I can to whatever meditation is. So being on stage, swimming, because I was a very good swimmer as a kid. So while I don't do laps anymore and I don't think I have that stamina anymore, for me, swimming is a form of meditation. Long walks.
Oh, walks.
Especially, yeah, in nature. I also love walking in the city. I don't like Oralu, Kaluma. Like
you don't like hiking or trekking and all that, right?
Well, I don't like the heights. I'm very scared of heights. Very, very scared. So not really Oralu, Kalo. If I see something like below me and the cliff just I cannot. I freeze completely. But I like long walks. In the city is also fine. But I love walking. In the year 2019,
okay,
I didn't know how to drive and I didn't have my own car. You know? And I said, this year I'm not going to spend any money on taxis. I'm going to walk. Everywhere.
Everywhere.
All the time.
Wow.
And I stay in Naxal. Naxalबाट सिनामङ्गल पनि walk गरेर जाने, त्रिपुरेश्वर पनि walk गरेर जाने. मैले पाटनसम्म पनि walk गरेर पुग्थेँ के त्यतिखेर. I was like, no, I'll just walk. Helped me lose weight, save money, but more than anything else, I think it also helped me fall in love with the city and what I see around a bit
In
more.
the daytime? I mean, at noon?
Anytime.
Anytime?
Anytime.
Wow.
Anytime. I was just walking a lot. My speed was also good त्यतिखेर. I think it was better. Yeah.
All right. So, अघि सुरुमा मैले हजुरलाई इन्ट्रोड्युस गर्दाखेरि मैले कति धेरै यो भनेर परिचय दिएँ नि होइन, आइडेन्टिटीहरू, प्रोफेसन वाइज होइन, यो सबै कुरामा त हामी आज प्रवेश गर्न भ्याउँदैनौँ जस्तो लाग्यो मलाई. अब आई थिङ्क म एउटा कुरा चाहिँ सोध्न मन लाग्यो हजुरलाई, इफ गिभन अ चान्स होइन, आफ्नो जीवनको बितिसकेको समयमा गएर केही चेन्ज गर्न पायो भने गर्नुहुन्थ्यो होला?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Can you share it with us?
I got married at the age of 21.
Oh.
I wish I had waited till 35.
Okay.
Because when I got married, I had absolutely no idea of who I was. And I got married into a difficult situation because I got married into a foreign country where I didn't speak the language and I did not know anybody. So for me, it was very complicated, very difficult. And while I might have learned a lot, there was also an opportunity cost. आजको दिनमा मलाई लाग्छ 15 वर्ष वेट गरेर बिहा गरेपछि मेबी म बाहिर कहीँ गएर अझै सिक्थेँ कि अझै डेभलप गर्थेँ कि. So if there was, truthfully, unapologetically, if I could change one thing in my life, it would be when I got married.
So तपाईँको 20 years सेल्फलाई चाहिँ 20 years old सेल्फलाई चाहिँ यो एउटा मेसेज
Don't get married at the age of 21. Yes, that is the message I would give.
एउटा लास्टमा अब एउटा हजुरले भन्नुभएको छ क्या मोस्ट सक्सेसफुल पिपल आर अफन दे आर द मोस्ट हम्बल वान्स होइन. सो त्यो हम्बलनेस चाहिँ म हजुरबाट पनि पाउँछु, देखिरहेको छु. सो तपाईँले भनेको कुरा आफूमा पनि लागु हुन्छ. त्यो के हो त्यो भन्दै हामी आज त्यो त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ लगभग आजको विसर्जन गरौँ.
यसमा दुईटा छुट्टै कुरा भन्छु.
Okay.
Firstly, what is my profession? I'm a corporate trainer and I'm a communication coach, right? Or I create content, or I'm in the media and I speak to people. Can you understand the kind of people I have access to? As a corporate trainer, if I go into a bank and I'm speaking to 80 branch managers, they're already there. They're already super successful people. Or as a communication coach, if I'm speaking to a doctor and I'm helping them communicate better, or if I'm speaking to a girl who's working at Facebook and I'm helping her communicate better, or if I'm speaking to somebody who's going to represent Nepal in Miss Universe, I'm helping her communicate better. I am speaking to these people who are already super duper highly accomplished people. When I walk into a room like that, very often I realize, oh my God, you're an idiot. You know nothing. Look at these smart, talented people around you. What are you doing here? So for me, I am always in situations where I'm nowhere close to being the smartest person in the room. I feel like an idiot around 80% of my professional life. Okay? So what do I do? How can I not be humble or whatever it is?
Again,
I feel silly most of the time because I'm speaking to these people that are so smart. I go in and I was doing this show on a channel called If I Had Not Failed. And we ran 26 episodes of this show. 26 episodes. I meet 26 absolutely jaw-droppingly amazing, astounding people.
Yeah.
And every time I meet somebody, I'm like, oh my God, they're so smart, so intelligent. म कहिले त्यस्तो ठाउँमा पुग्छु? When will I be as cool as this person? And because I kept on meeting these amazing people, I realize how little I know and how I'm absolutely nothing in comparison to them. So for me, just the fact that I have access to these people and just the fact that I continuously find myself in situations and in rooms and in places where I'm around such brilliant people. Even imagine Nepal. I was on these sets with these cinematographers who are 27, 28, but they're brilliant. They have another level of understanding. Even the behind the scenes team of Imagine Nepal, super smart kids that were doing such great work. So when I'm around these amazing people all the time, I'm like, oh my God, there's so much to learn. So that, I don't know if for me it was a sense of humility or what it was, but I continuously feel stupid. So I continuously want to keep learning. And this, then I later realized, some of the smartest people who I was interviewing for If I Had Not Failed told me the same thing. They're like, Mannsi, malai kati choti timla herera lagcha how well you speak. And I'm like, he's saying that to me. Like, look at this. I am completely fangirling and looking up to this person. And they're saying this to me. Because then I realized they also put themselves in situations where they're not the smartest people, because they also meet a lot of people who are smarter than them, because they also are in that position where they keep on meeting people who are so accomplished. Even they have that feeling of, I want to learn because I'm not good enough. That, I think, is one of the biggest things that comes with success.
Right. Maybe it also has a lot to do with the openness, the readiness to learn more.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, I think, हामी अन्त्यमा छौँ.
हजुर.
अनि म अलिकति सेल्फिस हुन्छु क्या लास्टमा चाहिँ.
ओके.
किन भन्दाखेरि म जो व्यक्तिहरूसँग कुरा गर्छु, यस्तो इन्सपायरिङ मान्छेहरूसँग कुरा गरिसकेपछि मेरो लागि चाहिँ केही सानो केही हुन्छ नि, वर्ड अफ विजडम.
Word of wisdom.
Or I mean, त्यो म प्रेसर दिएको होइन है, तर
no, word of
anything, any advice, anything, like हामीलाई as a team, for me personally,
for you, Bhanda, I'd like to say something
Yeah.
to everybody
Okay, sure.
that is younger than me and that thinks they're much younger than me, like you. Haina? I would like to say something that I've learned now. It's taken me a bit of time to learn. मेरो favorite quote म जहिले भन्छु हैन, that is alchemy is real, right?
Yeah.
Which means everything is changeable, everything is malleable. The world that we see today is not stuck in a constant. It's changing, it's going to move, and you can become whatever your version of gold is, हैन? त्यसमा एउटा कुरा थप्छु, because you are being selfish and you want something extra, right? You want something greedy. So म एउटा कुरा त्यसमा थप्दिन्छु, alchemy is real त म जहिले नि भन्छु, तर त्यसमा एउटा आज एउटा अर्को hashtag which I've been using on my own Insta stories for a while is reshuffling the deck. And that is, we believe everyone's been given cards, right? तासको पत्ता जस्तै तपाईले तास दिया हुन्छ लाइफमा, अनि त्यो जुन पत्ता छ त्यसको अनुसारले आफ्नो लाइफ चलाउने हो नि, त्यो पत्ताको अनुसारले आफ्नो लाइफ लीड गर्ने हो, right? You've been given a certain deck of cards, you've been given a certain assortment of cards, and according to that you're going to live your life, haina? But who told you that you can't reshuffle the deck? Who told you that you can't take back all those cards and just go shuffle it again and put it back? I truly believe alchemy is real and everyone has the power to reshuffle the deck. For the last few days, weeks, I've been putting a lot of content, not a lot of content, but a lot of little stories on my Instagram, and where a hashtag would say reshuffling the deck. Because for me, this year is about changing everything that I want to change about my life and reshuffling the deck. So as I end, I urge everybody who's actually watching this to remember, alchemy is real and you have the power to reshuffle the deck.
Reshuffle the deck. Mannsi, thank you so much. Honor to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. Thank you.